this man to be level he was. They have that kind of humility to go, oh no, I'm wearing, but I'm gonna put that in my closet. And I'm gonna pick up room and dustpan. And I'm gonna pick up, this rag and clean this for these young men. That right there is amazing for me, man. That's where you grow. That's growth. Huge growth. And also it shows that he was doing his job. He was a servant. He didn't look at himself any better than anybody else. This thing is totally lost. You cannot look at yourself like people with me even. I always look at people. I know where you are. I know where, because I've been there. That's why I help so many people out. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So I want to reach those people who are potential. Because I've been there so many times. You get to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all this. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind of where you want to go. And know that motivation is not going to get you there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated.
Charles, I think that's something. You said that discipline needs motivation for breakfast.
And discipline's good too. But without a clear headspace, there's no discipline. So, let's say we have a circuit breaker. And I'm loading everything up to one circuit. Just load it up. It's gonna fucking blow. But once that thing blows, as a result, you're gonna have these things get into the right spot. Like a crowded garage. You can't put anything in it. Once your brain is crowded, discipline is great. Motivation is great. But if you can't fit within your brain because it's all fucking clutch, there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have in this. I call it mental zones. If you're organizing your mind, so you can put that discipline on it. So while we're talking about discipline, okay, great. How do you follow the plan? Why can't I continue with this routine? Going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods. It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job. It's all just stuffed in your brain. You don't have it compartmentalized, organized in these nice shelves. A lot of people lose brain. And we don't know look. So much you're looking through total swallow. Done. So where am I gonna put discipline in that mind if I can't find other shit? You gotta be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can get discipline right there. If your life is not organized, and your life be everything around you, because it takes one little piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate every single night. Because I refresh, I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. And then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in this right spot. I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor so when I come out in the world, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late, I'm not rushing around, I'm not disorganized. So I'm waking up ready. Why is the truth so important? You have to have the truth to have a starting point. And your true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. We all look for toughness. We all want it. But we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, you will not find it. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts. You can't swim, you're drowning. You're drowning. You see what I'm saying? That she come face to face. You can start with. It's in our head. Say, you know what? You're not doing shit. You're wasting a bunch of percentage here. In this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, other side of this? Have to. So if you really want it, you realize that trying this, it will try it. The greatest, most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put on your phones and your computers and all that shit we have nowadays, your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, you're going through death, real life shit. You can't Google that shit, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in a day where you're alone in this brain. And you're going to talk to you in all kind of ways. And it wants to control you and put you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain, and your brain controls you, you're fucked. You gotta tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You gotta control it. If not, it's over. So, then, it's hard work. You gotta work. You gotta work hard. I can't keep this paragraph. I can't remember what the fuck says. There. Breathe again. Not get it. Breathe again. When you're not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. Realize if I keep going back, until I stick. Say, he is not going to stop. It's not going to go back. I can't read when I'm going back. I ain't myself no way out, and my mind realize that. It's okay. Whatever happens, no good. That's it. That's how you get through it. So, push yourself wherever it is, you can come back. And that became my new norm. I gave myself no way out. There was nothing outside these walls of hell. Nothing. I watched this segment on TV about these guys going to Navy SEAL training. And I couldn't even I'm a great swimmer, I'm afraid of water, all this crap, man. I saw these guys just quit. But at the very end, it says 22 guys, there's commanding officers up there, and he gives this great speech. So I started visualizing me being the 23rd guy, sitting there with these guys. I said, man, if I could yell that, that would change my life. So matters. Victory. I wanted to win. Not like beat somebody else. It wasn't about that. I just wanted to go the distance. Everything in my life was suddenly got hard to quit. I had to work harder than me. So I quit. Like, man, if I could just go that distance, that extra mile, to just go, just to finish. I want to finish. I want to feel victory. Victory for me wasn't winning, it was just finishing. So I said, you know what? If I could feel like these guys feel, it would change my life. And literally, I started feeling victory just by putting myself into the battle. I started realizing, man, just by going to war with myself every day and putting these challenges, these goals, these obstacles, these insurmountable obstacles, now we can move from there. If you look at it as, man, I'm broken and I'm still here. Not fighting, and I'm gonna find a way to get through this. Because I have no other place to go. It gives you that power. And no one really finds himself without going through trials, tribulations, suffering, accountability. And accountability is suffering. Being accountable every day in the right for yourself, people next to you, spiritually. The more I gain confidence, and then the more I gain confidence, the more I realize, fuck these Navy SEALs, man. These true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. I was not always the strong guy you see. I went through a lot of hard times in my life to get here today. All I wanted to be was an uncommon man. In my whole life, I was not that. I was 6'1" and 300 pounds. I walked in the recruiter's office and he looked at me and he said, "You're fat." He said, "I basically had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months." I came back 3 months later, 106 pounds lighter. You have to wake up and you have to get yourself belief. It's about gaining control of your mind, putting things back in the proper perspective, and then saying, "I really do want to be here." With every obstacle, I look at it as friction now. Without friction, there is no growth. You have to have friction in your life to grow. So I started looking at all these different things versus the what was me mentality, like, "Oh my God, look at my life's so up. I come from this family, I'm being beaten, I'm being abused mentally, physically." I started looking at it as a perfect trial ground. So I didn't flip it upside down and look at it, I'm suffering tremendously, mentally. Use this to your advantage versus your disadvantage. So that's what I did. Versus looking at it as like, "Oh my God, what was me? I never got here." I looked at it, okay, hang on a second. If I can overcome this, if I can find some power in this, some way to get through this. And so I found great strength in suffering. It showed me even more of what we have as humans. If we're willing to go there, if we're willing to push that extra step. I don't know, man, how do you do what you do? At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. It's real quitting. A lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You can answer that question after taking the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's for me. But I gotta live with that. There's a lot of people in graves who have been through 100 years and have never started their real journey. Your real journey starts when you go outside the box and you start climbing mountains. You start climbing mountains, and it goes on, and it goes on. And just when you break quit, you cross that final mountain, you get down and you look, and there you are. But you cannot find your peace you're looking for in yourself until you overcome yourself.
It seems like, especially with confidence, right, or self-esteem, there's a relationship between confidence and competence. So what you're looking to do is try and have what you believe you can do be ahead of what you can do. Right? You're not looking for it to be delusional. You don't want it to be able to believe you can do something like fly. Right? But you need to have a relationship between the two. What people are asking for is for their confidence to be so far ahead of their competence. Well, without having even been competent at anything in the beginning. And that's just delusion. That's fantasy. Right?
Well, I believe that he's a build belief. Belief is like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, "Believe in yourself." And that's all great. But there's also a built belief. And the built belief is one, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of shit kid I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof, motherfucker. So whenever you think you can't, the confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. It can't be like, "Hey, we'll knock that shit out." You gotta look over here and say, "Knock that shit out." Because a lot of people will, when you wake up in the morning, pound your chest, and lose yourself in this bullshit. It works. What works for me is that everyday resume. The things I know I've accomplished, things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. you put in to yourself. I came from a small town in Indiana where there was a handful of black families. And a lot of people in that town, when you come from a town of 8,000 people, it's like you got a local plant, Great Dane. You're like, you know what, I want to work at Great Dane and get a house next to them. That's what you know. So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside only what we see. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. But I was able to dream outside the four walls of that small town. Until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become. A lot of people sit back and they dream about being a sports figure, or dream about being a SEAL, or dream about being an astronaut, and all this is a motherfucking dream. They don't put the work behind the dream. When you become the master of your fucking dream, it's when you say, I want to go be a Navy SEAL, you say, okay, I'm going to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. The dream was the one thing I thought about, and the dream is now gone. The dream goes away, and the laundry list of details, the tasks come up. That's the master of your dream.
Ryan Holiday says, talking about the thing and doing the thing, but five for the same resources, allocate yours appropriately.
That's it. That's it.
That's the way it works as well. That's the way the brain works. You can actually get these kicks of dopamine by telling your friends, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL, I'm going to start my training next week, it's going to be great, I'm going to feel like this.
It was good. It feels good to talk about that shit, man. It actually makes you feel good, makes you feel proud. All that shit. I guess what happens, alarm clock goes up at 4 a.m. It's training. I want to be a SEAL today. I don't want to be whatever today. I'll start tomorrow. And that's the usual pattern of people's lives. That's why I talk about clearing out the mind. Until you really want to do something, you're always going to be a talker. You're always going to run your mouth. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? That is the number one purpose in life. Is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I fucking need. So the reason I get every day, even though there's no races in school, there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself.
Well, where do you go to? You wake up in the morning, it's cold, wet, it's dark, you've got no knowledge in your knee, you've got shitty shorts, whatever it is that's the issue today. You've got these problems, right?
I need you to keep talking about what you were just saying.
It's warm on the couch, it's good to stay in bed, it's comfy, it's cozy, it's working later on, you had an argument last night, you're slightly hungover.
Well, ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there, that fires me up. That makes me flipping happy what you just said. That brings joy in my life right there. Why? Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study for, refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. A lot of people wonder, how did you become this? How did you become so bored? How are you doing a podcast now? You were quiet. You became this. You followed. And now, this is what happens. This is on the other side of overcoming. You become very, very powerful when you overcome yourself. All those things you once cowered from, you're afraid of, and you face it eye to eye every day. You now become exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace. Because you know exactly who you are. And that is where the peace is really
ones, and you still have to breach that door?
That's a great question. That's a very scary situation. You can't get hurt. One side of the door, and your mind is racing because on the other side of that door, it could be no one. It could be 4 guys with 4 AK-47s. That door you're about to open could be trapped. So once you open it, boom, your legs are gone. So there's 1,000 things you think about when you're the first guy, second guy, third guy, getting ready to go in a room and flood it. And that's why I talk about the warrior mentality. And that's why so many people, when I start talking, you have the right. You're lucky that you don't have to think like warriors think. You're very privileged. I chose this world to be a warrior. And I would choose it again if I came back to this world. But the mentality of a warrior is very different from normal mentality. You must be that person on that door. Get ready to open it, thinking to yourself, if I die, so be it. The only way you can get that door is when there's a great chance you're going to die. Like being a SEAL, you train with 5 family. You jump out of airplane, everything you do, if you die. So to be a warrior, why people don't understand me, I'm glad you don't understand. Merry Christmas, good on you. Because being a warrior takes a whole different mindset. And a whole different mindset to know that there's a great chance I did that. Being it, I was in 21 years. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that I'm alive. They were talking to you, they were still running. But when you sign up for that, you're being accepted like a SEAL, time changes. I may not live. You gotta accept that. That's the time you have it. And that's what makes you a warrior. If you're scared to die, you're better. Also, looking at the guys to my left and to my right, realizing that we're together, man. And I have to be strong for them. And they gotta be strong for me. A lot of people, either you like me or you don't, even in the SEAL teams, but when you get to that door, or you get on that mission, or you get that pop, all that shit's out the door, man. You know, you do, honestly, I mean, people say all the time in these movies, you really don't live by the God son, and you can't be a coward. Because you know what, this I look at everything I do now in life, this sums it up. I hated jumping out of airplanes. I hated shooting guns. I hated the job as a babysitter. But I did it because I wanted to change myself. Everything I do, I'm not really comfortable with. But I choose to go that route, to go be this. You might as well go be the hardest one in the world. Because if you're choosing to do something, you have 2 routes. You can go there and be a little weak person and get through barely, and that's your reputation. The hardest guy you can possibly be, that's your reputation. So my hope is if you're choosing to open that door in Iraq or Afghanistan, because they're going to remember you, slowly open it and peek it. So if you're going to open it, and you made the mind open it, crack it open, door go in. That's just life. If you choose to do that, if you choose to do something, attack it. Because they're going to remember you as not attacking. So I want to be remembered, be managed, but one thing you can't say about I didn't attack it. So that's the time you have. If you're going to do something, I'm going to attack it. If you do it anyway. Who on this earth would still be going right now? You are. There's a lot of thought behind a person being a poor loser, becoming every day. You just wake up and just rocky to shit. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better. And that process is never finished. Like a lot of times, if your back is hurting, it may not be your back. It may be something else in your body that's making your back hurt. For me, I'm like, man, why can't I get past this hurdle? So like I said, I'm always examining myself every day. What is it? Well, one thing we haven't examined yet is going back to beast, going back to demon. All in times that I was like, I'm not going back, I'm not back, I'm not going back, I'm not going back, I'm not going back, I'm not going back. It showed me even more of what we have as humans. If we're willing to go there, if we're willing to push that extra step, I'm the man, how do you do what you do? At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step and they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You can answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I gotta live with that. I had just climbed a mental wall that was amazing. And I don't want anybody to take that pain away from me, because that was not confirmation. So for me, this was the new level. You're gonna need a lot of things. Sometimes the only thing that kept me was that one step forward was one thing. Let's not quit yet, guys. Let's think about your options. Where are you gonna end up if you quit this shit? Where are you gonna go? And when I got done with that race, it's the worst pain. I can't even describe the pain of that last 30 miles to anyone. I know it's very hard. So when it ended, and I'm laying there in the worst pain of my entire life, I'm shaking, I'm jacked up, and all I could think about was, I can't believe I just done it. To me, it was humanly impossible to even think about going 30 miles in that shit. Once you do it, when came on leaving that shower hit me, and the reality hit that, I had to mind. And that last 30 miles was something that I can't even describe to people. And it's amazing about the human mind is that it becomes your like, to think that I can run 200 miles, 240 miles, so that becomes like running 50. I never thought that was possible. This time I'm always pushing that limit because I know that within pushing these limits, there's always more.
Did that set the tone or the rhythm for what you wanted to try and achieve and feel again? Each time there's you're pushing further.
I didn't want to feel it again. I didn't want to feel it again. But what it did was it showed me what is possible. And that's what set the new stage for me. That's when I realized, oh man, I've really been underachieving my entire life. But it taught me what is possible. It taught me like, okay, I gotta check, know about action. And action means less talking and more doing. So that's where I've been. It only takes 1 second for you to lose the whole thing. 1 second decision is just that. In a situation where life is sucking, let's say you're in extreme cold water and your life is flashing before your eyes. Every time that wave goes over your head, your thought process is, I gotta get the out of this shit. And you're young. And you're hour 1 of 130 hours. It's cold, I can't be cold this long. And then this is that 1 second decision comes in. You forgot every reason why you want to be there. You don't care about singles. You don't care about any of this. You don't care about fighting for your country. All you want to do is go back home. You want the warmth. You may want something to eat. All those things that come for during that 1 second. But this is where people lose. So what I do in that 1 second, we all think about quitting, which is hard. But what you have to do in that 1 second is hard to process information during pain. Because that pain takes over. And you can't think rationally. You're thinking about fight or flight, save yourself. That's not a rational thought. It's not a thought that's going to get you through hard times. Most people fail at that 1 second. So what happens, what I do, I start thinking logically. I calm my brain down because your brain is supposed to be calmed down. It's about gaining control of your mind, putting things back into proper perspective, and then saying, I really do want to be here, and I'm going to have a bunch of these 1 seconds And I have to learn to control it. Because if I fail one of these 1 seconds, I would not be a SEAL. I would not be a doctor. I would not be a lawyer. I would not be whatever it is. So that's how important that 1 second decision is. It's all about your mind takes control of you. You have to say, I run this one. There's no other way to make it out here. I mean, you can't just always be, head down in the sand. You got to learn to pick yourself up on your own. A lot of times these fights, these battles, you got to be your own coach. You got to be your own motivator. Because there's a lot of people in this world who don't want to see you make it because they think you're going to take a piece of their pie. But I've learned to study people before I react. Because there's no successful person in the world who's in a good headspace who's going to ever attack anyone in that kind of manner. There's always going to be something wrong with it. So you got to always dive a little deeper before you get your feelings hurt. Take time. Take that 1 second to pull back and study them. Because most people work in places, they don't care about what you're doing. They don't care about what you're doing. They don't try to destroy you. They actually will try to build you up versus destroying who you are as a person. So that's where I'm at now in life. Is most people who do that, they're in a very dark place. As you get bigger, as you get more successful, you open the door for people to critique everything that you do. And most of the people who are critiquing you usually aren't where you are. And all the critiquing comes from people who are really at a low level of life, which is sad. But what we do, people who are on the upper level, hearing the haters at the lower level, like I said, you'll never be a hater do better than you. True statement. So I started making these mixtapes with all of these hate messages about people talking shit. And it became such a source of fuel that it was amazing because I know why you hate me. You hate me because you're probably in the bed right now. You're probably an underachiever. You're probably somebody who doesn't want to do anything with your life. So I make you question everything about yourself. So I'm going to continue making you question yourself by coming out here and being even more successful. So what happens is, there's days where I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to do this today. And I'm like, oh, hang on. So I listen to that while I run, sometimes do it in the house. It's half comical, it's half inspiring. I'm actually inspired by it. There's an art to get hit. And that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself. You have to give yourself something. It's like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself. And that's all great. There's also a built belief. Built belief is the daunting tasks I give myself. So,
you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Work yourself down.
Yes, because a lot of people, is when you wake up in the morning, pound your chest, leave yourself in the mirror and I hope it works. What works for me is that everyday resume. The things I know I've accomplished, the things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. You must build belief. You must build confidence. That's it. I can knock that shit out. So, the path of least resistance, I started to choose the path of least resistance to prepare myself for the journey I'm taking. And you realize through hard work, you can outwork anyone. But how bad does it go? It starts with yourself, man. You gotta go down those things mindset and you learn to flip that around, that's what made me powerful. And I'm powerful. So I said, I'm going to do this and give myself a challenge every single day until the fear goes away. And I feel like that's what more pushing people in here. That's what you live your life. So what is that? It helps me feel super confident. You come out here. I'm saying this doesn't now control me. That's right. It's like, it's so while I was speaking all words, I used to speak in all words. I don't read everything that comes out of that substance. You have these feelings in our bodies and our minds and our souls. And a lot of us who are afraid of something, we allow our minds to choose to have these positions or go different. I'm afraid of something that's telling me you must do that. Life is one big mind now. And you're playing with yourself. And you cannot lose it. Sense of life. Where failure, fail, disappointment, discomfort is a great movie to it. And many people don't understand that. It's these few moments in life that you have, like for me, let's talk about it. Rocky 1, round 14. That 1 2-minute and 13-second clip of Rocky getting up when Apollo knocked him down. That one clip, I was going through a very bad time in my life, I saw what I wanted to do. It wasn't a guy that won. It wasn't a guy that won everything he did. It was a guy that kept getting up and getting knocked down. So I realized that 2 minutes and 13 seconds really mattered. So I saw something that I needed to do. And when I was in maybe high school, it's so 13 seconds, baby. Everybody's got to we don't share on social media. We share our lives on social media. And yet we all haven't done it. I'm just willing to talk about mine. Mental toughness isn't something that you sample. It's something that you live in every day. Every part is counting. You know what it is? It may be different for you than it is for me. But you go back to your insecurities. And then you go back to insecurities and you look for comfort. But it was insecurities. But you also look for that comfort that the body should give. You were sad. You were sick. You look for our wife, for our husband, you look for comfort. It's in those moments. You must be in health. The mental state is you must know how far you're hurt. I put in damn goggles. That's it's not all the law. It's not a truth in the law. It's not a better way than that. I don't care how you perceive your guidance. Because through my journey, I figured out that one piece I was missing. I thought it was cards. I thought it was women. I thought it was everything. The one piece I was missing was me having the courage to face myself. When I got my look back at time, with hours and hours. If you sit down and you're not smart, you have a disability, and you still want to be in the top of your class, I want to say 5. But I realized that I can learn through hard work. And I can beat the valedictorian in school. I got put in 10 hours more a day than he does. You know what kind of strength comes from that? When you're sitting down, that guy that valedictorian for an hour, and you know, I caught. I got the work ethic. And that's where David got his back. Really admitted. At the kitchen table, with 20 spiral noodles that were empty, and then they were full. And you can go through that. You have to get my storage in. You go through these spiral noodles of your life, and you go, this is how I learn. It's so illegal. And what if it's in the way I'm going to sit in my life? 5 miles in 39 hours, so I couldn't get out of bed. My life was taken from me. And that's when I realized I hadn't taken time thinking about what I could have alive. After all these things, there was no fierce one. I fierce a race of life. Now when you receive my medal, I can go walk. I take the car and I go. When I started figuring out life, that I was even service and saying, what's the best I got, man? I was a young, fat kid being bullied. And now I'm 180 pounds, first was 106 pounds in less than 3 months. Really, what this, what do that? I was like, I need more. I was putting my mom and everything. I never took the step that I came from this step. I come 8,000 miles from where I started. Yeah, I know that. They're still in a settled down on one place. So it's that quiet place. It's that place by yourself. It's those hours and years and decades by yourself in the grip of life. Life has you by the throat and choking you out, and you're sitting there crying. And you think about it, life had you gripped in advice, and you can figure that. That's when you overcome. That's when you overcome. The journey getting there is harder than going through it. You know, so that's the thing about life, man. It's that journey that makes you who you are. And I can feel it. These guys feel it. You know what I'm saying? Feeling victory just by putting myself in the battle. I started realizing, man, just by going to war with myself every day and put these challenges, these goals, these obstacles, these insurmountable obstacles. Now we can move from there. If you look at it, man, I'm broken and I'm still here. And I'll find a way to get through this. Because I have no other place to go. It gives you a lot of power. And no one really finds himself without going through trials, tribulations, suffering, accountability. And accountability is suffering. Being accountable every day to do it right for yourself and the people next to you, it's miserable. The more I do, the more I gain confidence. And the more I gain confidence, the more I realize, these Navy SEALs, man. These guys can't do what I'm doing right now. I had no coach, had no trainer, had no money. I don't know how to lose weight. I had no knowledge of what I was doing. I was just working. I was just sacrificing. I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place. And your true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. I was not always a strong guy you see. I went through one of the hard times in my life to get here today. All I wanted to be was a common man. And my whole life, I was not that. I was 6'1" and 300 pounds. I walked in the recruiter's office and he looked at me and he said, "You're fat and you're black." He said, "I basically had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months." I came back 3 months later, 106 pounds lighter. Thank you. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself. It's about gaining control of your mind, put things back in the proper perspective, and then say, I really do want to be here. Every obstacle, I look at it as friction now. Without friction, there is no growth. Because this. Some way to get through this. That right there would be the fuel for the rest of my life. And so I found great strength in suffering. It showed me even more of what we have as humans. If we're willing to go there and we're willing to push that extra step. I don't know, man, how do you do what you do? At the end of the day, I ask myself one question. Can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. A lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You can answer that question, I can take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so I choose not to. That's for me. Like I like that. A lot of people in graves for 100 years and have never started their real journey. Your real journey starts when you go outside that box. And you start climbing mountains. You start climbing mountains. And it goes on. And it goes on. And just when you get ready to quit, you cross that final mile and you get down and you look. And there you are. But you cannot find your peace through looking over yourself until you've overcome yourself.
It seems like, especially with confidence, right, or self-esteem, there's a relationship between confidence and competence.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're looking to do is try and have what you believe you can do be ahead of what you can do. Now, you're not looking for it to be delusional. You don't want it to be able to believe that you can do something like fly, right? But you need to have a relationship between the two. What people are asking for is for that confidence to be so far ahead of their competence, well, without having even been competent at anything in the beginning. And that's just delusion. That's fantasy.
Right. Well, I believe it's build belief. Belief is like, there's an active school special belief where the model says, believe in yourself. And that's all great. But it's also a built belief. And the built belief is one, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of shit kid I run